Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, I'm in the car, warming it up. It's 5 degrees out. It's friggin' cold. And, in the wintertime, you can't just jump in your car and take off. It's not good for the car. You gotta let everything warm up and all the juices get flowing. But anyway, so I figure while I'm sitting here, I might as well turn the camera on and start telling stories. I'm gonna do a Christmas story time video. I'm just gonna do one quick story now while I'm warming the car up. And I got places to be. And then maybe tomorrow I'll tell the other stories during the day so you can see me, because right now I got the interior lights on and you can still barely see me. In fact, there's no point even having those on. You can look at the Christmas lights in the back. That's right, I got Christmas lights in the back window, which is, yes, 100% illegal. But all the cops around here just don't care. And, if they're not enforcing it, who will? So anyway, Christmas stories. Yeah, I got a lot of Christmas stories, and some of them are really funny. Some of them are just kind of okay. Some mean something to me than you guys would understand. But I'm gonna start this off with something I thought was pretty funny. Something I'll always remember. It's actually a story about my sister, and she was probably 12 years old or so, and it was right around the time when she wanted to get her own cell phone. Now, back when, because she's in her early 20s now, kids like 8, 9 years old didn't have cell phones like they do now. Usually teenagers, 14, 15 is when kids got cell phones, but some spoiled kids got them when they were like 12 or 13. So anyway, she was around that age, and she really wanted one. And my sister was always really good about not asking for like a bunch of stuff. She didn't, Christmas rolls around, she didn't have a long list of crap like I did. I always had a big Christmas list, as a kid. But as we grow older, we realize that it's not about the presents, it's more about spending time with the people you love and, your friends and family, and appreciating everything you have. And as an adult now, I get a million times, more joy out of giving a gift than receiving one. And of course, I'm still a person, and there's still cool stuff I like. There's adult toys that I enjoy, and I'm not talking about sexual toys. I don't know why that popped in my head. Adult toys. No, there's cool stuff. Adults like cool stuff too. Electronics and gadgets, and for me, it's gear. Knives, guns, all that kind of stuff. But Christmas isn't just an opportunity to try to get some free crap. It's all about giving for me and appreciating what I already have. So as an adult, I see it very different than a kid. But most kids don't think about that. They're just kids. Can't blame them, right? We've fed them this story, and it's time to get stuff. So they asked for stuff. But my sister was really good. She didn't get really caught up in like, I want this and I want that. No, she was cool. There was always like maybe one or two things she wanted, and they weren't really extravagant gifts. However, this year she wanted a cell phone, and that was a pretty big deal, because unlike some parents now, my parents, they like the idea of her having a cell phone for safety reasons and security reasons, but they knew the potential to get in trouble and be using it in school and you're not supposed to, and all that kind of stuff. So they were a little on the fence about it. But I remember my sister, what was really, really popular was the Razr. And I don't know if some of the older viewers, some of the young teenagers right now might not remember those, but the Razr cell phone, when they came out, man, they were popular. And they were big phones, but they were like really flat. They were really slim. That was their pitch, you know what I mean, is that they were a slim line. But they were still huge. But most of the other, folding phones were kind of chunky, round things, really just nothing like the Razr. The Razr was like the latest and the greatest. So that's what my sister wanted. She wanted a Razr cell phone. I forget who. I think, Verizon and Sprint. I think they all made their own version of the Razr. But anyway, that's all she really wanted, She had other things she kind of wanted, but this is the one thing she like really wanted, and she started talking about it, after Halloween and in November, and of course in December. My parents would always ask her, hey, what, if you could only get one thing you really, really want, what would it be? And she kept bringing it up. She's like, oh, I really want a Razr cell phone. So I guess my parents said, all right, they kind of put it in the back of their mind. And of course my dad, we'll see. I'll ask Santa. Doesn't matter how old we get. My dad will, and my mom, they're good about that. They'll have to ask Santa, So, Christmas morning comes, and she's opening all her presents. I'm opening my presents and stuff. We're having a good time. We're about halfway through the presents, still no cell phone. So we get towards the end. There's only a couple presents left, still no cell phone. I could see, like, my sister, like I said, she wasn't stuck on getting presents, but she was kind of curious, like, am I going to get that phone I wanted? So she finally opens this present, and she gets this look in her face, right? And I look down, and immediately I could see it's a cell phone, but it's not a Razr. And she gets this face, like, she looked confused, like she didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, she starts bawling, crying. I mean, hysterically crying. So she's crying so hard, you know, crying and sniffling, and like she can't even, what she's saying is mumbling. You can't really understand what she's saying. My parents are like, oh my God, you know, what we do? You're right. Like, what's wrong? What's wrong? You know, because my parents at this point, they thought that she was more fixated on getting a cell phone in general and not so much this specific cell phone. You know what I mean? And obviously, today's day and age, kids are all over it. You know, you get them a cell phone, it's got to be the exact one they want, whether they're an Apple fan or, you know, they like Android or whatever their deal is. They have something specific in mind. But, yeah, she really wanted the Razr, so my parents got just some generic phone, thinking that, you know, she'd be really happy. They were very excited to give it to her. But my sister, she wasn't crying because she was upset that she got the wrong phone. She felt so bad that my parents would be disappointed in her that she was crying on behalf of my parents. It was almost like they didn't know which one to get, so she felt bad. She felt so bad, she was crying her eyes out. My parents like, oh my God, what's wrong? When she finally was able to like catch her breath and spit it out, like, oh, I really, really love this so much, and thank you so much, but you know, it's not the one I wanted. And they're like, oh yeah, no problem, we'll get the one you wanted. And all of a sudden she was fine again, but she was, you know, like, why are you crying? You know, it's supposed to be a fun day. And she kept saying she felt so bad that they were going to be disappointed that she didn't appreciate her gift, you know. So I just, to this day, I'll always remember that. It's the one and only time there was ever crying on Christmas Day, and it was for the silliest reason. But it's just, you know what, it makes me think of that pressure, and we all have experienced this pressure. When Christmas time rolls around, whether you're a little kid or an adult or whatever, whether you're dealing with your family or friends or people at work, when you open a gift, you may be really appreciative of the gift, but not every gift is this wow moment. You know what I'm saying? So like, you open gifts, and sometimes, you know, you really shouldn't. You shouldn't be fake, obviously. But sometimes you open something you really, really appreciate, and you're like, wow, I'm really going to use this stuff. But like I said, not everything you open is like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. You know, and you look down, it's like a notebook. You know what I mean? Not everything you open is the best thing ever. You can still appreciate it, but like, some of us feel this urge to give the gift giver the best reaction because they spent their hard-earned money on it, and they're excited about giving it to you and all this stuff. And especially for kids, there's kids that do a lot of that fake, oh my God, thanks Ma, thanks Dad, and it's just kind of like, okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be wowed by every present you get. But it's just funny. It's the elephant in the room. Not everyone talks about that, but everyone in their life has experienced that moment where you open something, you love it. And sometimes you don't love it. Sometimes you're like, oh, what am I going to do with this? But we all do the same thing. Oh, wow, that's great, that's great. So there's a lot of pressure receiving gifts. I never liked opening gifts in front of other people. And if I can get away with it, I wouldn't. But of course, you know, Christmas comes, we all do it together, we're in the room. And that's part of the fun, is seeing the reaction of the person when you give them the gift, when they open it. But as an adult, I really try to stick with things I know people are going to use. You know, I try to be practical but fun. And some of the best gifts ever aren't practical. Some of the best gifts are the junk that people want, but they don't want to spend the money on themselves. So it makes it okay when someone else spends the money on it. You know, it could be some kind of gadget or electronic that they're not even going to use that much, but they really wanted to try, or just something they just really wanted. Sometimes it's just something of monetary value, you know, whether it's jewelry or, you know, maybe a gun someone doesn't really need for their gun collection, or maybe another knife. They have a huge knife collection, but it's just another knife they want. Sometimes the best gifts are things that aren't necessary or things you don't need, but stuff you wouldn't spoil yourself on. You know what I mean? But, you know, these days I try to be practical. I try to get stuff for people that they're actually going to use, as opposed to something that's really cool for 5 minutes and then they'll forget about it forever. But, yeah, I thought I'd share that story with you because I thought it was funny. My sister, I'll never forget that. And we talk about it all the time. Every year around Christmas, we bring it up. But she was such a great girl. I mean, like I said, she wasn't upset she got the wrong phone. She was so upset because she was disappointed in disappointing my parents, you know. She felt bad that it wasn't a wow reaction. And she got so emotionally overcome that she just started crying. And I think it's hilarious. She probably doesn't think it's hilarious. I mean, she doesn't like when we bring up the story because it's embarrassing to her. But, I mean, I love her to death. And she's that selfless that that's how she is. You know what I mean? She was never that kid. And even as an adult now, she's extremely selfless. And I don't talk about her much, and she's never been in any videos or anything. If you guys don't know, I do. She's 9 years younger than me, okay? So she is my little sister and always will be. But I'm extremely proud of her, and I love her to death. And it's just every Christmas I always think about that. And it makes me think about her. But anyway, I thought I'd share that story with you guys. It is pretty damn dark here, and the car is now warmed up. So I'm going to take off, and we'll finish the story time tomorrow with a couple more stories. Thanks for watching.